Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to this program brought to you by Kensington and Chelsea Libraries. My name is Nina, and it is my pleasure to introduce this event to you tonight. Over the next hour, we're going to spend a day in Rome with my wonderful friend, Olga Chuchkovic, who is a licensed tour guide of Rome and the Vatican City, and has managed tours in Italy, Central Europe, Croatia, and Bosnia for over 30 years. She specializes in private tours for families and individuals, custom-made itineraries. A lover of art, she has obtained her master's degree in arts management at the American University of Rome a few years back, and she's fluent in several languages and is rightly, I think, proud of her TEFL certificate, which she gained during the early lockdown. So it's a great pleasure to welcome back Olga, who you can see on your screens. Hello, Olga.
Hello, Nina. Hello, everyone. Great to see you all.
How are you today? How is the weather in Rome?
Oh, Rome, the weather has been wonderful. Rainy, actually, yesterday a little bit of rain, but today another wonderful, brisk sky, just beautiful. Come.
You are very fortunate. We are experiencing the worst May in memory this year, in stark contrast to last year when we all went into a lockdown and had to be at home, but it was beautiful. Now it's very cold, windy, and rain. So take us to Rome, Olga.
Yes. Well, most of the photos were taken on the sunny day, so I hope you will enjoy it. And I guess many of you have been to Rome and many haven't. So my idea was to tell you what to do if you've never been in Rome. Of course, I did not take into consideration, for example, a visit to the Vatican city-state, the Vatican museums, or the Colosseum inside, because that would take a whole afternoon or a whole morning. But what to do if you're just in Rome and you don't have any reservations, you don't know what to do. Or if you've been and now, well, what else is there to do that I didn't do when I was there last? So there is also a little bit of time frame in a sense. I'd like to suggest things that are better done in the morning because of the light, if you would like to take some nice pictures, and others, they're much better in the afternoon, especially obviously the famous golden hour. Now let's start from somewhere. Here is a beautiful statue of a river god in the Piazza Navona, and something is blocked. Let me see. Nina, are you there?
Yes.
Yes, you are. Good. Eccolo. Eccolo means there it is. It's moving. So that was the beautiful fountain. We'll be back there to Piazza Navona to admire Bernini's masterpiece of the four rivers. That's how the fountain is known. Four rivers represent the four continents known at that time. And I wanted to imagine that we're arriving to Rome from the north. This is Piazzale Flaminio that leads into Piazza del Pocolo, People's Square, the northern gate to Rome. That was the most important gate in the Middle Ages and in the Renaissance times for the pilgrims, because the Mediterranean was blocked for traffic. The Islamic world was taking over the Mediterranean. There were naval battles. It wasn't safe. So most of the visitors were coming to Rome from the north. So the popes tried to impress the visitors, mainly pilgrims, and they positioned some of the obelisks that they found at that time, 1500s, later on 1600s as well. But let's say in the 1500s, the obelisks were positioned, 5 of them, to indicate the route for the pilgrims. We will have a presentation on pilgrimage in Rome on 17th of June. So if you entered from the north as a pilgrim in the old times, you would see an obelisk from the 13th century BC, and the 3 streets would radiate from there. In the center, the main street, Via del Corso, that would lead you straight into the main square, Piazza Venezia. If you turned left, actually follow that ray that goes slightly to the left, you would reach the famous Spanish Steps, which is a fashion district and really gorgeous, but that's not a good place to be in the morning because the steps are in the shade. So we'll get there in the afternoon. If you took this other street to the right, you would reach the area of the Pantheon and Piazza Navona. But now, let's start from something that's really best to do in the morning and just in the morning. You may have heard about a magic keyhole, and kids love that. And this is the gate to the property of the Knights of Malta. And there's always people there looking through that keyhole. Now, why am I saying go there early? Because, well, this is an old photo, as you can tell. And as soon as the tourism comes back, and I hope it will very soon, the lines are going to be like that. So early in the morning, which I mean, let's say 8:30, 9 o'clock, already around 9, the people are there. Not now, but generally speaking. So what is it about this keyhole? Well, if you're a young girl in Rome and you're not Italian, your Italian boyfriend, the first thing he'll do, he'll take you there on his Vespa, trying to impress you. And you see how many people rub their nose on this door. And I must tell you, if you ever do that, be careful. In the middle of the day, that door is hot. Most of the people burn their noses on it. But that's the keyhole. And the photos, well, they don't come out good because I'm not a National Geographic photographer, but that's where we are. We are on the Aventine Hill, and we are looking at the dome of St. Peter, which is across the river of Tiber. You see these sycamore trees, that's the river of Tiber. And there we go. That's what we want to see. Part of the dome is under the restoration currently. And if you wanted to see it better, then right next to the Keyhole Square, the square of the Knights of Malta, there's this beautiful gate and entrance to a public park, Parco degli Aranci, Park of the Oranges. You see these, the pine trees, the typical Mediterranean pine trees, and there are smaller trees, those ornamental oranges that are not edible, they're very sour, but they give the name to this beautiful park. You see the dome of St. Peter's straight ahead, and the view is really, really striking. And there we go. It's not just the dome of St. Peter, it's all of Rome. Again, in the morning, the sun hits. This is the Vittoriano monument, which we're going to see a little later from the front, from Piazza Venezia, which is good at any time of the day. And there are these lovely fountains everywhere in Rome. This is the only one with Keyhole. Kids would love it. You have to learn a bit, trial and error, not to splash yourself with the water, but they're fun and they're everywhere. Water is free for everyone. Another thing to do in the morning, because again, the lines are long, it is the Mouth of Truth. You've seen the movie, the Roman Holiday, Gregory Peck and Audrey Hepburn, where he scares her to death, taking this horrible mask bit off his fingers, handsome Gregory. And that's what everyone wants to do. Put their hand in the mouth and have their picture taken with it. But lines are long. So again, 9 o'clock. I will mention a few things, obviously, but you will have to choose because Rome is enormous. Now, this is something that is much better done in the afternoon, but it is right there. So if you happen to be at the Mouth of Truth and at the Aventine Hill, the Circus Maximus is right in between. But keep in mind, if your only desire is to take a lovely picture of the ruins of the Palatine Hill, then go in the afternoon. And that's the beautiful view of the Romans, wealthy Romans, emperors, aristocrats lived on the Palatine Hill. And Circus Maximus, where the chariot races used to take place. Farmland in the Middle Ages. Ubiquitous fountains, just happen to love them. And of course, the seagulls love them. Be careful with the seagulls, they could get aggressive, especially if you have a sandwich. But you just respect the line. First the seagull, then you. This also works with pressing the bottom, and then the water comes out of the nazzone, the big nose. They're all over Rome, so we don't need to buy water. It's perfectly safe and healthy water, runs all the time. And again, right there, Mouth of Truth, Aventine, Circus Maximus, Palatine Hill, there is this beautiful rose garden. See, the paths have a shape of a menorah because this is where there used to be a Jewish cemetery. In the 1930s, with urbanistic reorganization of Rome, the cemetery was moved to a bigger cemetery called Verano. And this is a rose garden now, keeping the memory. And it's still a good time to go. I'm actually going in a couple of days again, because a colleague is doing a lovely guided visit. This is the time for the roses, just a few more days. And then I believe they do blossom again, some varieties in the fall. So it's free of charge. So that's something you can do if you love roses in Rome. Wonderful varieties. Now, something that I would do early in the morning or late in the evening, if you're lucky to be in Rome, is the Trevi Fountain. The crowds are normally horrible. And, the first things to get crowded will be the Vatican museums, the Trevi Fountain, the Colosseum, and of course the Aventine Keyhole. So these, and the Mouth of Truth. So these are the things that you really want to do early in the morning. Trevi Fountain, if you're staying in Rome overnight, go late at night. And of course, you have to throw the coin. Actually, with your right hand, a coin over your left shoulder, looking at the church across the street, and that will bring you back to Rome, definitely. Look what happened to me. I must have thrown a whole wallet sometime in the 1980s. And if you wanted to take a picture of the Colosseum with a good light, so most of you probably know that half of the Colosseum is actually missing. It collapsed. So you really want, if you are after pictures, you really want this side, and that's the morning time. And this was already a little late for this side, it was like 10:30, but I chased the sun around the Colosseum. And you see, this is where it breaks. So the other half is missing, collapsed in a big earthquake, but Colosseum is striking from any side. This was taken from a tram some time ago. We also had some rainy and cloudy days. And now, if you wanted to visit St. Peter's, the visit of St. Peter's is separate from the Vatican museums, unless you're on a guided tour, and we'll see how that goes. They believe the end of September will be able to connect the Vatican museums with St. Peter's Basilica. But if you just want to go to St. Peter's Basilica, which is again not connected with the Vatican museums, in the morning, because that's when the view and the light is on the facade. You see the obelisk in the middle. The Sistine Chapel is the little roof here with the lightning rod. I'm pointing it out with the laser. And the Pope lives here in this building to the right. And some of you would like to attend the papal audience. Well, that's every Sunday at 12 o'clock. The Pope comes out on the window of his residence overlooking the square, and he gives a little talk of 10-15 minutes, and then he blesses everyone. And if you have any rosaries with you, any religious articles, the blessing will be extended to them. So you would like to bring them back to your friends. And to go to St. Peter's, there's again a little line, which will tend to be longer with time. So again, take that into consideration if that's what you would like to do in the morning. Of course, St. Peter's is always striking. But if you are after the view of Rome from the dome, this was taken from the dome, then don't go in the morning, go in the afternoon. Because if you go in the morning, you will have the sun right into your eyes. But if you go in the afternoon, this will be a beautiful view of Rome with the sun behind you. St. Peter's Square. And now it's about time to go to the market. Campo dei Fiori, Field of Flowers, with poor Giordano Bruno, who burned at stake here some 400 years ago for confirming that Copernicus was right, the Earth is revolving around the sun. It's a fantastic market with local produce, more and more souvenirs now, but that's how the world is going, but still retains a lot of its charm. There are really good places to eat around, just ask the locals. I never feel like recommending, oh, this restaurant, you know, if I'm with people, then yes. But if I recommended something today, it may not be good in 3 months, or the management can change or something. But I will give you some ideas about what to search for in Rome. And then if anybody comes, if you just want an advice, please feel free to write. DM me, as they say today. This is a modern way, direct message me. So Campo dei Fiori, Piante e Fiori, that's what the market is known for. And these little guys are only there, they have a special permit to bring the produce. They use the local garages, like the little warehouses for the produce they sell at the market. You don't see these around, no, they're just typical for the Campo dei Fiori. The Pantheon, an absolute must. You can't leave Rome without having seen the Pantheon, and it's open all day. But recently also the experience was in the middle of the day, there were the lines. So again, I'm just saying. And if you are in Rome on Sunday, go to the Pantheon before 10 o'clock, 9:30, because there will be the Mass. And you cannot visit the Pantheon. You can participate in the Mass. Everyone is welcome, but you cannot visit, go around and take pictures. That would be respectable anyway. So just keep that in mind. And you will want to go inside, obviously. Pantheon, the absolute miracle of architecture, astronomy, art, you name it. The dome made of one piece of concrete. With all these theories, new theories now, you know, we just discussed among the colleagues the other day, you know, yes, they put this, they didn't put that, and we're still really not sure. These Romans were absolutely amazing. The opening in the center, well, it's open. And of course, the rain is collected. There are the drains in the center of the Pantheon. But this hole is not there just for stability. It's also a sundial. And at 12 o'clock, it's always in the line of the entrance. This is an old photo. And this is one of the things that you may witness at the Pantheon. Just go there at 12 o'clock if you can, if you don't mind the lines. So you see, every situation has pros and cons, but it's absolutely an amazing place that would require a whole lecture or a presentation just about that. Now you must feel like having a little Italian breakfast. You know, I've lived in Italy for almost 30 years now, and I never really got used to this habit of having colazione al bar. Let's have bar. It's how Italians call the cafes, and they're written like bar usually. Here it says Caffè Greco. This is a famous one at the Spanish Steps. But I'm kind of more used to having breakfast at home, but still sometimes I give in to temptation because Italian croissants and stuff is just so delicious. But I'm going to tell you how it normally works, because this situation right now is completely different. You can't really have anything at the counter, which you normally would, because it costs less. So when you see that people are seated, it means they're paying for the table charge. And cappuccino, obviously, they always make a little something with that foam. This is like a little heart, just a plain cappuccino in an anonymous little bar or cafe. This is something that would normally be a no-no, plastic, God forbid. But until a few years ago, if you told an Italian to go, they would look at you and say, Signora, go where? So, but now, of course, everybody's getting used to the concept of to take away, to go. And since there is no consuming anything at the counter, just sitting down, I just took a little espresso shot That's what you would normally do. Italians have that espresso. You know, that little rule after 11 o'clock in the morning, no more cappuccinos. There is a reason why. And with Nina, we talked about we may have a presentation about generally the food in Italy and what's valid for which region and why is that? Why can't you have a cappuccino after 11 o'clock? Well, join us, stay tuned. So you can have whatever you want, whenever you want, but just a little talk about the tradition. And so if you really want to indulge, then cornetto or croissant will be con la crema. Just impress somebody. Oh, cornetto con la crema. And it's a egg yolk cream. They're really, really, really delicious. If you are in the Roman mood, then just think to the left. Maritozzo with the panna, with the whipped cream is typically Roman, only in Rome. In the center, cannolo siciliano, Sicilian cannolo with ricotta and pistachio. And you must all be familiar with the phrase, like leave the gun, get the cannoli. And if you're in a Neapolitan mood, then you'll have la sfogliatella here to the right. That would put you in a good mood, definitely. Now, this Facebook sent me this a few days ago. I bought these cannoli in euro. Food is great in the suburbs, it's the locals. But I decided to show you not just because of cannoli, but because of this amazing, amazing structure. La Nuvola of Fuxas is the architect. And we are also thinking, again with Nina, cannot do anything without her, about modern architecture in Rome. It's not a place that you would think about as far as modern architecture goes, but there are a lot of surprises. So that's one of the ideas. But now, let's go back to the past for what Rome is more famous for. This is actually something that's not typical for Rome. It's a Rococo, little square, and it's St. Ignatius in front of the Church of Sant'Ignazio. We were there with tour the churches in Rome. But if you are in Rome just for a day, Sant'Ignazio, just put it on the list because it's absolutely, absolutely stunning. And again, it's open all day. This fake perspective illusion, it moves as you move. Just observe it. There's even a fake dome. There's Saint Ignatius ascending in the center of the ceiling. This is 1600s or 1650s. The artist was Andrea Pozzo, so something not to be missed. But now in the middle of the day, Piazza Venezia is good because in the morning the shades are there and in the afternoon. So in the middle of the day, Piazza Venezia is the center of Rome. And if Rome is caput mundi, the capital of the world, then this is, well, the center of the world. And I wanted to tell you what you can do except for just taking pictures of lovely monuments in Piazza Venezia. You can go to the top of this monument. There's an elevator from behind and it costs like 10 euro. And if you like the views, it's really striking. So, okay, I just like the views. There you go. I don't know how things are going to be with the hop-on, hop-off buses. They're also good. They used to really work well and hitting the most important parts of Rome and the sites. There was also the archaeological bus. But for now, you can just decide to go for a lovely view. See from behind, you see the Colosseum, or down towards the, say, northeast, you see the Trajan's Forum. And I'd like to show you here this column to the left. I'm pointing out with my little laser. That is the column of Trajan, really famous. Archaeologists love it. Really stunning archaeological monument. And you can also, if you looked towards west, towards the river of Tiber, there's a lovely view of the theater, Teatro Marcello, and the synagogue, the Ghetto. The Ghetto. Closer, this is also good more in the morning than in the afternoon because we have the sun behind us. It's an ancient Roman theater with a medieval fortress on top, and today some of the most expensive apartments in Rome. On the other side is the river where you see the trees to the left. those are those sycamore trees along the river of Tiber. But now I'd like to show you how it looks like on the other side if you arrived from the river. There's, sorry, just one more before we arrive from the river, there is this lovely church of Saint Nicholas, which is the quintessential little Roman church as far as the layers of history go. You see, it was built within the walls of an ancient Roman temple. Actually, there were 3 little temples there. Then it has a medieval tower and the Baroque facade. So if you wanted something quintessentially Roman, that's this little church of Saint Nicholas is absolutely stunning. It's right next to Teatro Marcello, the theater of Marcello. Then the ghetto. This is the entrance from the river. The synagogue is a little more than 100 years old, and it can be visited only as a part of the guided tour in the Jewish Museum. And the tours in English used to be like quarter past every hour, but you can find that information online. And there are fascinating ancient Roman ruins in the ghetto. And we all love the ghetto for the food. It's excellent restaurants. And the most famous are artichokes alla Judea, the Jewish style artichokes. You see what I mean here to the right, crunchy, wonderful, double fried. They have them in some other restaurants around Rome, but they're typically a Jewish specialty. You can't leave Rome. Even outside of the season, you know, they will have them because they are so much in demand. But we'll get back to food. I wanted to still talk about the morning. Just one thing, if you are in Rome on Saturday and you've been to Rome, now what do I do that's different? It's Saturday morning, go to Palazzo Colonna. It is an absolutely stunning palazzo. It is open between 9 and 1 o'clock. And it's really, really, really worth it. You may or may not like Baroque. I personally actually don't, but it's stunning. It's the best. And you may remember it from the movie Roman Holiday. That's where Audrey Hepburn realizes Gregory Peck is a journalist. I would still elope with Gregory Peck. But anyway, little angel. There's some stunning works of art. There is a whole gallery of art. That hall is the most important. And these are the apartments underneath, which you can, they're 2 separate tickets, but you can do them in the same morning. It's one above the other. The apartments of Princess Isabella, they have guided tours there, internal guides, or if you're with your guide, it also can work out. Isabella was a princess who married into Lebanon, from Lebanon, married into Colonna family, and fascinating stories. When she died sometime in the 70s of the last century, the titles in the newspapers were like, the Queen has died. And it's really, really interesting. And if you are in the Baroque mood and it's not Saturday, you can go to the gallery Doria Ponfi, another papal family, absolutely stunning palazzo. The family still lives in the adjacent apartments. It's not just the fluffy stucco, but excellent, amazing collection of art. Velázquez, Caravaggio, really, really worth it. Now, if you're coming from the Termini railway station, so you just arrived in Rome, you are very close to this Basilica Santa Maria degli Angeli e dei Martiri. And those are the ancient Roman baths from the 3rd century, where Michelangelo did his work as an architect, like a fixer-upper, and he transformed these ancient ruins into an amazing church. And he did not do any other works of art inside, just the architecture. And this area with the dome was the Calidarium. And if it's 1 o'clock, the dome is also recent. You see, there's a mixture of different epochs, but here, this dome is a bit of a meridian. It's difficult to show you on the photos, but I'll show you the one that is easier to understand and find as you enter the church to the right. Just Google the solar noon time in Rome, because it shows you the noon when it's a solar noon on the Rome meridian, which is usually around 1 o'clock in the summer. And This is the table that shows you how to look at the line, at the meridian, and figure out what's really going on. And there is this, you see the light comes through a hole in the wall, and this was June, because these are Gemini, and then a little later then Cancer, and then the sun goes through Leo, and off it goes towards the other end of the basilica. When the light is right in the middle on the meridian, well, it's noon, but solar noon. Don't ask me too much about it, because I'm just pretending I understand it. I don't really, but I'm telling you what I've read. Now, if you are there, so Termini railway station, the basilica, you are here at the beautiful fountain of the Naiads, and Via Nazionale leads all the way down to Piazza Venezia. You see at the far end, there's the monument to Victor Emmanuel, and of course, Romans jaywalking wherever they want. And that's not something I would recommend. And now it's the lunchtime. You all know about Antipasti. This is me and my friend and colleague, tour manager. We brought our group. This restaurant is famous for their antipasti. And antipasti, the appetizers, there's a little bit of everything, and they really are good. But if you're not in a restaurant that's famous for their antipasti, and also be careful how much you order for later. Depends on your eating habits, obviously. This is not a normal antipasti. They're famous for that. And it was like a deal with the group, and they love to treat us well. So don't think it will be like that in every place. But the food, you really cannot go wrong, very wrong. These flowers, zucchini flowers, anywhere in the world, they would be like, well, what do I do with that? Well, look at them at the top here to the right. These are zucchini flowers filled with a mozzarella and a little anchovy, and then deep fried. And really delicious. Here at the bottom, you see also, this is fiore di zucca, but in a different restaurant, with the polpetta di bollito, so boiled meat, but deep fried. This thing with deep frying is typical for the former poorer cuisines, where you would, if you fried the food, then people were satiated. Nina will correct my English. Sooner, because it became heavier and tastier. So see, these are also carciofi, artichokes to the left. And this is, since I was in the ghetto, this is lamb brain. And I know there might be some vegetarians out there, but what can I say? I'll recommend a little bit of everything. You can do bufala, but don't be deceived. Bufala mozzarella contains a lot of fat. That's why it's tasty. And caprese, lovely caprese. Don't go for it in the winter. It's not the season for the tomatoes. I mean, they will be there, but they won't taste good. How many kinds of tomatoes? If you go to the market, oh, signora, this is per il sugo, and this is per l'insalata, and this, if you put a little bit of this and that, and then they go into what do you do with each one of these little tomatoes. Now, pasta. Italians call it primi. And here I just put a few examples, the pasta with truffles. These are summer truffles, the white truffles, November, and mainly in the north and Tuscany, Piedmont and Tuscany. Those are extremely expensive and absolutely worth every penny if you like the garlicky taste. And then, of course, spaghetti alle vongole, clams, and typical ravioli, ravioli with ricotta cheese and a little tomato. Ricotta with spinach usually. These, however, are two typical Roman pastas. At the top, these two are carbonara in two different restaurants, and at the bottom, cacio and pepe. Cacio and pepe, it's ewe's milk, cheese, and pepper. That's it. And the sauce, if it's a pasta with the cheese, it melts at the bottom, so you have to mix it up. And so if you're in Rome, order something that Rome is famous for. If you are in Florence, order something that Florence is famous for, and that's how you will get the best food. And waiters are usually really happy to help, because they want you to come back or to recommend the restaurant to their friends. Ask them, what's the best today? Ask them, what would you recommend, this or that? And they will pretend they didn't say anything, and they would say, this. And it will, 99% of the cases, my experience, will be a good advice. Now, some people like amatriciana, like my friend here. I don't, but I have to show you. Amatriciana tomato sauce, and it's not bacon. Italians would tell me, non è pancetta, è guanciale. So yes, and I'm having a carbonara. This is a great place. And of course, there are also typical greens. What you see at the top to the left are puntarelle. It's a sort of a chard. It's very seasonal, typical for Rome. Don't ask for puntarelle anywhere else. Cicoria, chicory. It's like a field, little chicory. Ripassata with olive oil and garlic and chili pepper. This is me making puntarelle at home, because if you let them rest, they will kind of die, and it will be less crunchy, but I like them that way. And again, if we do this little, and we will do a little presentation on food, I'll tell you how to make these vegetables so that everyone finds them tasty, even those who don't like, I hope. And secondi, meat, you can order typical, okay, of course they have steak and grilled vegetables, but suckling pig and lamb especially, that's typical for Rome, and it's easy. Abbacchio, agnello, that's easy to find. This is how Italians divide, like antipasti, appetizers, primi piatti, pastas, risotto more in the north, and secondi piatti, second dishes would be usually the meat. Piatti del giorno, don't go for a tourist menu. Just go to places that have piatti del giorno. Okay, this day they had tripe and broccoletti ripassati, and then side dishes, contorni. So go for something local. What I absolutely adore, of course, the sweets. Here's panna cotta and chocolate mousse, which you can find in France and everywhere, and creme brulee. This is not creme brulee, this is creme caramel. But what I would do, almost anything for a good zabaglione. This is the end of the world for me. Like, this is egg yolk and sugar and usually some marsala. It's absolutely the end of the world. But if you like gelato, you're looking for gelato artigianale, which basically is a homemade gelato. And any time of the day is good for gelato. You decide between a cup and a cornetto, and then you see the prices. Usually, starting of like €3, you can have 2 flavors. There's not that much of a habit of tasting. Some places are getting used to it, but it's not that typical or common. You may try, they're getting used to it. This is one of my favorite little places. And usually the little holes in the wall have the best food, and there are some exceptions, but I would be happy to tell you about them. This is another one of my favorite gelatos. It's in the suburbs. So when we go to the catacombs in the middle of the day, the best thing to do to go to the catacombs in the middle of the day in the summer, because it's cool. And then I pretend like, oh, well, by the way, not far away, there's this gelato. Yes. So I get my Petrini gelato. I used to live in that neighborhood. Now, forno is an oven. So if you're in a hurry, there's more and more of these street food options, but this is the old way. And you can you see pizza, for example. You don't have to sit down and order a whole pizza, but you just show not the way the people at the person at the counter, okay, how much you want, they cut it, and depending on the ingredients, they weigh it, and off you go. So just make sure that you know whether they do or don't have restrooms, because sometimes the pizza al taglio are restroomless places. Or a panino, just a panino, and off you go, because you don't have that much time. There are a lot of possibilities. If you've been to Rome, I would suggest go to Testaccio Market. It's not far away from Trastevere neighborhood. They have absolutely excellent food. You'll have all kinds of local things there, little stools, and if you are renting in Rome, then this is my shopping. I was a little bit, but this was right in the middle of the lockdown. Well, right when they said there would be a lockdown, I said food. So my freezer was filled with stuff I like cooked. And well, that was last year. But anyway, I love to cook, and there's a lot of really typical produce here, which I would be happy to to share. If I look like somebody who knows how to prepare fava beans, then join me. Now, Castel Santangelo is always there, obviously, and this is a stunning fortress. Not something you would do if you've never been to Rome, but to get closer to it is fascinating. And inside is a museum. You can walk on this bridge and admire the statues. These first two are St. Peter and St. Paul, but the rest of the statues are the angels designed by Bernini, and they are holding the instruments of Christ's passion across the column of the flagellation, the spear, the Holy Spear, and so on. So Castel Santangelo is a fascinating place to take a look at. And also the angels, obviously, they are really stunning. From the Castel Santangelo, if you haven't been to St. Peter's Square, you'll have a great view of St. Peter's Basilica. Then I promised we would be back to Piazza Navona. It's there all day. Gorgeous, gorgeous piazza, with not just Bernini's Four Rivers fountain with 4 river gods or 4 continents. There are other fountains, beautiful, they're 3 altogether. They're lovely from whichever way you look at. And normally it's really crowded. If you would like to eat with the view, be careful, you'll be paying for the view. But ask somebody local again, are there any exceptions? Or if you sit somewhere with the view, that's what you wanted to do. So don't expect gourmet experience usually, but there are some exceptions. The restaurants that at least are honest restaurants, and you will get decent food for this absolutely stunning view. And I wanted to show you this little column here with an eagle, and also tell you about a presentation that we were thinking about doing, which would be about the fascist era, not politically, but architecturally and artistically. This column was placed here, pillar, was placed here during the fascist era, and you can tell there's a little EF at the bottom to the right, era fascista. So I actually really like that period architecturally, so I'd like to work on that for one of the next projects. So now you're wandering around and you run into this beautiful street with the curved buildings. So what happened here? We are very near Piazza Navona. We are practically in between Campo dei Fiori and Piazza Navona. The buildings are curved because this is where a theater used to be, Teatro Pompeo, and we are very close to the area of the ruins where Julius Caesar was assassinated when he came out of the theater of Pompey, after a session of the Senate. The cat is here legally because there is a shelter for handicapped cats. If you want to contribute to that, you just go down, you buy a little souvenir, you can give a little donation. It's Torre Argentina, lovely archaeological ruins. And now it's the afternoon, and we are at Piazza Di Espana, famous Spanish steps. Right facing the Spanish steps is the street called Via Condotti, and that is where you find all the designers who respect themselves, all the Gucci, Pucci, Tucci, they're all there in Via Condotti. And this picture was taken just about 3 weeks ago, because in this period when the azaleas are blossoming, flourishing, that's when they put them on the steps. They're not there all the time. And I think it's until the 15th of May, something like that. There was a date. And I rushed to see that. And at the top of the stairs, there's a Church of the Holy Trinity with an obelisk, and ancient Roman, actually, obelisk. And it is one of those obelisks on the pilgrim's route. It could be seen without all this urban growth. It could be seen from Piazza del Pocolo, as You entered from the north, and then from there, again, join us for the pilgrimage in Rome on June 17th. From this obelisk, you would go across the 3 of the 7 hills of Rome to Santa Maria Maggiore, St. Mary Major, one of the 7 churches, 7 basilicas on the pilgrim's route. And here at the bottom is a funny fountain designed by Bernini, La Barcaccia. Barcaccia, when a word has this accia, accio ending, it's kind of something bad, but in a playful way. And something else at the Spanish Steps to the right here, there is a mark. There is a Keats home. Keats died in Rome. He's buried at the non-Catholic cemetery. You know how the British were still are in love with Rome, and he died so young, 26, 27 years old, and there is a museum dedicated to him. Now, I mentioned Via Condotti. There you go. There's Max Mara, there's Louis Vuitton, there's, again, all the designers who respect themselves. They're in Via Condotti, but there are other streets like Via del Babuino, where you can find like spin-offs. For example, if Prada is in Via Condotti, Miu Miu will be there. Ladies will know what I'm talking about. Or if Armani is in Via Condotti, then Armani jeans, it will be on Via del Babuino, or particular little brands in the little streets. You meet some important people in Via Condotti. You could. And now again, it's afternoon, so we do the afternoon things. We go back to Piazza Venezia. You see the Vittoriano monument to the left, and these stairs, actually a ramp, not the steep steps, Archaeological, 124, but the gentle ramp designed by Michelangelo as an access to Campidoglio, the Capitoline Hill. You see the ancient Egyptian like lions at the bottom. They come from Egyptian temple to Isis, that was nearby in Campo Marzio, well, 2000 years ago. And if you climbed that ramp, you would reach the main square with the statue of Marcus Aurelius, who survived the Middle Ages only because people thought it was Constantine, the first Christian emperor, and they did not melt him down for weapons and utensils. So there he is. And he was originally by the Cathedral of Rome, St. John in Lateran, and he was placed here by Michelangelo when he redesigned the whole square. We talked about that more during the presentation about 2 Michelangelos of Rome. Now, to the left and to the right are the Capitoline museums, which are absolutely amazing museums, but it's one museum, but there are 2 buildings connected with the passageway that goes under this building with the bell tower. The building with the bell tower has incredibly layered history. It was the state archive in ancient Rome, and then it became the Senate in the Middle Ages, and today it is the town hall. So we came here in the afternoon because of this. Now, imagine that we're walking to the right of that building, just be following the building with the bell tower, and boom, that's what we see, the ancient Roman Forum. One of the most stunning views, again, the best at the golden hour, whatever that is, the time of the year that you're in Rome. You see where it all started. The valley was swampy, and it was drained the 6th century BC by the huge canal Cloaca Maxima during the times of the Kingdom of Rome. Later on it was Republic, and then the Empire. So if you don't have time to go inside the Forum, then you at least go for the view. The Colosseum is at the other end. See there, I'm pointing out with the laser. So this is in between the Colosseum and the Capitoline Hill. Of course, being inside the ancient Roman Forum is always the best. But again, if you can't, just go for the view. So this is the back of the building with the bell tower, the town hall. At the bottom, you see the remains of the old state archive, record office of ancient Rome. You see the medieval towers at the corner. The one at the right is better preserved than the one on the left. The remains of the temples, and at the far end, the arch of Titus. So one of the very few, just 3 actually ancient Roman triumphal arches that survive. So the archaeological park in Rome includes the Colosseum, ancient Roman Forum, and the Palatine Hill, the same ticket. But again, this is our day without the reservations. So I'm just telling you, what else can you do? So now go back to Marcus Aurelius and look at the building with the bell tower, so the town hall. Don't go to the right now, you go to the left, and you will find the she-wolf, the symbol of Rome with little twins, Romulus and Remus, the founders. Of course, Romulus killed Remus, and that's why we are in Rome and not in Rome or something like that. And if you went more to the left, there is a terrazzo, bellissimo. Bellissimo would be more than beautiful. And you have this absolutely stunning view of the imperial fora, because forum doesn't have a plural. And it's the extension of ancient Roman forum in the imperial times. And of course, the buildings that grew on top, first the farms, later on other buildings, they were all removed, excavations were done. Then there was a street in the middle, and it's pedestrian on weekends, on Sundays, and just take that into consideration. So now we're back to the front of the Capitol Hill. You see again the Victor Emmanuel monument with the 4-horse carriage, the symbol of victory, and Nike, the goddess of victory, with her wings, which actually inspired the swoosh on Nike tennis shoes, but you probably knew that. And if it's a lovely sunset time, there you go again. I just love this view with the Teatro Marcello and the synagogue, beautiful square dome. There are so many hidden little things in Rome. You would never really get to know that, but there is a little monastery here that looks like so nondescript, run down little place. The nuns still live there. And it's not open to public, just once a year. I think I remember it's 9th of March. And you stand in line that goes around the block to see their absolutely stunning frescoes. Now it's the afternoon. You haven't done Caravaggio in the morning. Be careful with the churches. Smaller ones have closing time between usually 1 and 4 o'clock. So I'll go very quickly through the Caravaggio that you can see in the afternoon. Santa Maria del Popolo is tricky because they have the mass at 10 o'clock, so you have to be there earlier. This is the chapel with 2 Caravaggios, not the central one, is Annibale Carracci. But to the left, the crucifixion of Saint Peter, and to the right, the conversion of Saint Paul, jointly the patron saints of Rome. Again, on my site, you can find the recording of the presentation on Michelangelo, which is second one was Caravaggio. So there's more information on this. San Luigi dei Francesi, there's a martyrdom of Saint Matthew, again, the masterpieces by Caravaggio. San Luigi opens at 3:30. You always check, ask your guide, or just check yourselves, obviously. You can do that, but be careful. Again, smaller churches have the closing time. And Sant'Agostino, where there is this absolutely stunning Madonna con i Pellegrini, Our Lady with the Pilgrims, is closed between 12 and 4 o'clock. But dirty feet, famous dirty feet. Now it's 5:30 already, and you want to see something really spectacular. So 5:30, 5:25, you are in the church called Jesus, and you cannot take videos here, so that's why I only have photos. The music starts, and this panel starts sliding down, and this amazing statue of Saint Ignatius comes out. It's really Baroque show par excellence. I'd really recommend that. And this is a tomb of Saint Ignatius of Loyola. So now again, it's golden hour. I have extended the golden hour a lot, but again, you have to have your choice. You have to make your choices. Gianicolo is the hill on the other side from Aventino. Remember, we were on Aventino this morning and looked at Rome with the sun behind us. Now the sun went west. And we are at Gianicolo. If you're a movie buff, you may recall the movie, the great La Grande Bellezza, The Great Beauty, where a Japanese, I believe, Asian tourist looks at Rome. He crosses the street from this fontanone, a big fountain, and he looks at Rome and he has a heart attack of how beautiful it is. And this is still Gianicolo, Piazzale Garibaldi. Both of these are actually monuments, not just Garibaldi, the leader of the unification movement, but a little Fiat Cinquecento as well is a national heritage monument. But I brought you here not because of the Cinquecento, because it's beautiful, because of the view. And the view that you see, it was already a little late, so I should have been there a little earlier for the best view of Rome from Gianicolo. You have like all of Rome at the palm of your hand. And again, afternoon or any time of the day, actually, Basilica Santa Maria in Trastevere is open all day. Trastevere is extremely charming neighborhood. Looks run down and very shabby, but it's that logic, you know, shabbier it is, more expensive it is. So be careful about shabby in Rome. Don't go there in the morning because it's a very popular place for the kids to go out at night, and takes time to clean all that. So if you go to Trastevere in the morning, you'll say, oh, I don't want to do that. So later in the day, also already lunchtime is good. And just ask people, where are the good pizzerias, but where are the good places to eat, not to interview. And inside, the church is absolutely worth visiting, with ancient Roman columns, 3rd century, from the baths of Caracalla. They brought them here when the church was rebuilt. There was an older one in the Middle Ages. Baroque ceiling with the Assumption of Our Lady by Domenichino. A little bit of everything from everybody can find something there. But this would be a typical look of Trastevere. Just look at that and say, oh, this is a shabby old building. Yeah, some of the most expensive real estate is right in these shabby old buildings. People still dry their laundry in Trastevere outside because it's allowed. In the rest of the city, it's not. It's full of little restaurants, cafes, bars. Again, just ask somebody to recommend a place. And this would be a very unusual situation in Trastevere. I took this photo just about a few weeks ago and on my way back home, and it's deserted. But as soon as a little life comes out, this is full of life. And so don't expect this, not even at 3 in the morning. No, all night. And so if you're renting an apartment, make sure that your bedroom windows are overlooking the inner courtyard, which is the most frequent situation anyway. And since it's the evening time, ta-da, pizza. Because believe it or not, Italians do not really consider pizza a lunch thing. There's also a reason for that. Stay tuned. It's the evening meal. And pizza in Rome that is typically thin crust, for the difference of Naples, which is thicker. And here we have a little greens just to feel better about it, a little salsiccia, sausage, prosciutto, mozzarella. What else do we want? Well, maybe a glass of wine. Well, we could talk about that too. So when in Rome, there we go.
Wonderful, Olga. Thank you so much as always. You've given us a brilliant tour of that wonderful city. it has actually brought us right bang on time to the end of our advertised time. So I will take the opportunity to thank everybody who came and who has to go now. But Olga, if you agree, we do have a couple of questions, mostly their comments to say how wonderful the session is. Are you happy to answer a few?
Absolutely. Here I am.
If you have to leave us, thank you for coming, and do come again. We have a lot of interesting things lined up for the next few weeks. Not least of all, Olga is coming back with a session called A Pilgrim in Rome. I think that is going to be riveting again. You can read about it. I've posted a link to it in the chat, and also will include it in the feedback request. So thank you if you're leaving us. If you're not, then lots of these thank yous, and you're so knowledgeable and informative, Olga. Somebody says, I went to the Vatican in the early 90s, and you could go on the dome either by lift or stair, and the prices were different. Is that still the case?
Yes, yes, it is.
She says it was cheaper to hoof up 12 million steps.
700 something steps, definitely. But yes, there is an elevator. Now, don't take my word for it. I was even there a couple of months ago, but I believe with the elevator, it's €8 without 5. Don't take my word for exactly the amount, but yes, there is a difference. The elevator, I would check that obviously before I get back to you if you ask me officially, but more or less to give you an idea. So the elevator takes you to the bottom of the dome, and it's really striking. If you watched our presentation on Michelangelo, I think I showed, no, churches in Rome, I think I showed the railing that you've seen. It's already something. And then from there, you could do that on foot if you want to save something, or if you would rather do some exercise. But then you have to go through this curved double dome, and some people don't like the feeling. So just be prepared for it. But yes, the answer is yes, there is a difference in price.
Well, so there should be, really, if you're propelling yourself on your own steam.
The elevator, yeah.
MMS said it was hard for them to catch the names of the sites you mentioned, and wondered if you would be providing people with a list of things that they've seen. Just to say, we have recorded the session tonight. It isn't a recording that I can send you straight afterwards, like after many of our events, but this talk will appear on Olga's website to the address of which you will get, and she will upload this talk in a couple of days. So
in a couple of days, yeah, it will be there. It will be on my site. I did write down some of the sites, but probably I mentioned many more than I mentioned. But you know what? If you watched it again, then you would see some. I mentioned the churches and the squares and neighborhoods like Trastevere or Testaccio. They're written there. And if there's anything else, or Campo dei Fiori, like the most important sites, but probably missed a couple of them. But I would be happy if you sent me an email just to ask me, what is this on this slide? I would really be happy to answer.
Okay. Michael says, just to check, in the Pantheon, the sun illuminates the entrance at midday. Is that true?
Yeah, it is true. Just beware of the daylight savings. So in the summer, it's like 1 o'clock. So just that, but yes, it's always, and then you can see the equinoxes and solstices. There are the marks for that. It's like a gigantic sundial and a calendar.
Great. Julie Farmer says her first trip abroad was a school trip to Rome and Assisi, which is another place of pilgrimage for me, just for the art content. In the mid-80s, yep, she's been to Catholic school, you might have imagined. Also honeymoon there in 2002, so she's keeping her fingers crossed to make it back for her 20th anniversary in July 2022. Well, we wish you good luck. You know who to go to if you want a lovely tour for your 20th.
Or an advice. You don't need to book a tour. Ask me. I'll be happy to send you some information regardless. Don't worry.
Okay. Andrea says, Olga, what was the Roman pastry called again, please?
Maritozzo with panna. Again, Maritozz, or Maritozzo.
Tozzo.
Sì,
Z-O.
But I can
write
send
it
it to you. I'll send it to you. I mean, Maritozzo, like this, informally, but if you would like me to write it down and send it to you, just send me an email and don't worry if it's just...
Here, I've put it in the chat, so maybe that's easier. Yeah. Natasha wants to have your contact details, and Natasha, they're on the screen now, and I will send them through with the feedback request, which please do fill in for us. It's always an important thing, a tool for me to demonstrate to my managers that this is worthwhile. And also for Olga, who doesn't really see you or doesn't have any idea of the audience that she has tonight. This is about the recording. Somebody's feeling hungry now, and Julie, yes, Julie, I agree. Some of those pastas were absolutely wonderful. Chiara, Humphrey, wants to know, dare I ask, how the attitudes of modern Romans are towards the LGBT community?
But you know what? There are crazy people everywhere, and the incidents are happening. I cannot deny that. But generally, I personally have never witnessed any animosity. I have friends who are on this or that side, but nobody really talks about that. And there's a neighborhood, nobody thinks it's a problem, so it doesn't come out in discussions among my friends, thank God. But there is a whole neighborhood near the Colosseum that's for like rainbow signs, and they use a gay community likes to go there. So there's this and that like everywhere, but I wouldn't say people normally would have problems just with normal behavior. Obviously, what is normal is another thing, but just common sense. If you are on the street and it's like elderly people or something, maybe they could be shocked by certain behavior. But if you're in Trastevere, if you are among young people, nobody really cares.
So is there a large LGBT community in Rome, like people who actually live there?
As a community, there are no really neighborhoods, like there is no business district, or there is no a neighborhood like that. I would say that more modern neighborhoods would be Trastevere and around Testaccio or Ostiense, which are like up Ostiense especially. I can send it to you, or I can ask my gay friends, like, what do you think? But they're local, so they live wherever they live. So I would go for Trastevere, although it's more expensive. Testaccio, where there is the market, there is also up and coming, and the community is getting younger. There are a lot of startup companies there, so a lot of younger, more relaxed community. But I wouldn't say it's really impossible to determine, okay, this neighborhood is this or that. It's all very, very mixed.
Okay, Catherine McNaughton says, I'm hoping to run the Maratona di Roma this year on 19th of September, if we can travel.
Good to know.
It starts at sunrise. Do you expect it will be warm at dawn? Super excited to see some of these incredible sights. A wonderful talk. Thank you.
Thank you. September, now what is our high season? June and September. June, because everybody comes out, and just an advice, if you're planning to travel in June, book like 2 years in advance. Same goes for September. Why is September such high season? Because the weather is absolutely beautiful. Most of the cases, obviously, the weather has gone haywire all over the planet, but generally speaking, September is the most beautiful weather in October. So it could be slightly chilly though, towards the end of September, so early in the morning. But normally it's beautiful weather. I cannot promise, but normally it's beautiful. Slightly.
It should be much warmer than what we're experiencing here, especially in this country. At least I know whenever I've gone to Rome, it's a huge difference. You really go from some continental climate to a Mediterranean climate. It's different. Mark says, if you please, how far in advance do you suggest booking reservations for the Vatican museums, gardens, or villa?
Allora, gardens or villa, you want to go to Castel Gandolfo gardens or the Vatican garden? No, let me tell you generally, if you are booking a guide, if it's these months that I mentioned, June, September, you just go months ahead, just book the guide's time, and then they will put you on a sort of a waiting list, because the Vatican issues the reservations 2 months before the actual date. And again, high season, especially now, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with reservations, how many people will be allowed in slots. Avoid Saturdays, avoid them, avoid Friday afternoon. If you can, go during the week. If you want to avoid during the week, the biggest crowds, go later in the afternoon. They're supposed to have extended opening hours. I would think, again, in the high season, preparing everything way ahead. If things go back to normal, which I hope they will, you can go on the Vatican site and check the availability, and you will see that they won't give you anything farther than, they used to have just 2 months. I haven't made any reservations recently, but even the Colosseum, until a few days ago, they were taking reservations for just a week ahead. And just 2 days ago, my guides chat, they extended until the end of June, which is a month from now. So things are changing as we go. Whatever you do, if it's high season, book way ahead. That's all good. I can tell you, yeah. For now, because I don't know how things are going to be. Okay. There's no rules.
Nicholas said, is there a cemetery in Rome which, like Père Lachaise in Paris, has the graves of historical figures, celebrities, artists, poets, etc.?
Not like Père Lachaise, or if you are into cemeteries, I would suggest go Milan. Cimitero Monumentale is absolutely stunning, especially if you like 1910, 20s, 13, or that period, Art Deco, Art Nouveau art. In Rome, there is Cimitero Verano, but maybe personalities that are more known locally. I would suggest, in that sense, as far as cemeteries go, to the non-Catholic cemetery, where you have Bulgari, for example, the jewelers. They are Orthodox. They're from Bulgaria, so they're non-Catholic. Keats. There are more some famous people there. It's not big, but there are some beautiful tombs, and it's right next to this ancient pyramid, which is a tomb as well. It's just in the shape of an Egyptian pyramid, so it's a stunning setting. So Cimitero Acattolico, so non-Catholic cemeteries where you would find some, but nothing like Père Lachaise, or nothing like this absolutely stunning, amazing Cimitero Monumentale in Milan.
Okay, so we've now gone way over time, so let me finish with a question from Hardy. Is there a good season for the performing arts, opera, concerts, popular music in Rome?
Teatro dell'Opera has their season, which is like, I think it's right now in the summer, but you know what is good to check? If you're here in the summer, in July and August, again, normally, I mean, there is an opera season in the open space in the baths of Caracalla. Concerts, not just opera, concerts, ballet, it's an event in itself. Just to be at the baths of Caracalla as a setting is an event in itself. I would have to, honestly, I would have to go and check exactly the opera, Teatro dell'Opera, you know how Tosca takes place in Rome. But if you are after opera, then La Scala in Milan and San Carlo in Naples. If you are about to embroider your trip around a specific opera event, I would say that San Carlo and La Scala are the top of the top. But then you have to make reservations way ahead. I mean, Naples has it's slightly older than La Scala, and they're very proud of that. It's absolutely stunning theater.
Well, thank you so much, Olga. I think we got a lot of information beautifully presented, and it certainly whetted my appetite of returning to the Eternal City once more. I think from the comments of people in the Q&A, a lot of us can't wait to be able to travel again and come. Thank you so much. This was the next best thing. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Do join us for the rest of our program. We have amazing things on. Tomorrow, we are actually hosting the famous film director, Mike Lee. He has agreed to do a talk for us, so we are all thrilled that somebody like of that stature wanted to do a talk for us little library. But Olga will be back in June with this Pilgrim in Rome. We have several local history talks that might be of interest to people who have attended tonight. So have a look. I'll send you the links. By the way, there were many comments, people wanting your email, Olga, wanting your contact. I will send all of that.
Yeah, sure. It's there's my site, olgarome.com. You'll find me there.
They would like an email address to contact you, actually.
Yeah, it's on my site. It's either info@olgarome.com or olgacuc@gmail.com. If you just go on my Olga Rome, there's contact, and you just send me an email.
And I will send them the links so they can in one click you can get there. So don't worry about that.
You just go to my site, and then there's a contact. There you go.
I will send them the link to your website where you can see some of the other talks as well that Olga did for us and for other places. So, Olga, thank you so much. I'll let you say goodbye to everyone, and it's goodbye. Buonanotte from me as well.
Okay, ciao. Ciao, everyone.
Ciao, everybody.